Hey everybody, welcome
Hi,
back to our channel.
mhm.
We're the Ladies of Lanai. I'm Tina,
I'm Christine.
and today we're going to talk about the ins and outs of executive golf in the villages for beginners,
Mhm.
beginners like me who didn't know anything. And Chris, I'm going to ask all these questions, and Christine, who's our expert, will be answering
Yeah.
them. So we'll just kind of, and again, it's for beginner because I didn't know anything about golf when I
Mhm.
came here. So I felt kind of silly and stupid when I would ask all these questions. But what's the difference between executive and championship golf?
Yeah, and one thing I will say, if you haven't we've all come from a place where we never played golf before. Anybody who knows who's plays, who's comfortable on the course, we've all come from that place where we didn't know anything. So we totally, it's totally understandable that there'd be a lot of questions. And I think there definitely are a lot of questions. For I can only speak for women. Women I know there's a lot of women out there who's like, I'm a beginner, or, what should I do? How should I,
Right.
they want to play
And
and
it's
they
a
don't know.
big part of the villages. Like a lot of
Yeah,
people play,
a lot of people
a
play
lot of
golf.
people play here, and a lot of people
Yeah.
want to learn how to play.
Yeah.
So,
So to answer your question, the difference between executive and championship.
yes.
So basically, executives are 9-hole courses that you play in roughly an hour and a half. The championship courses are 18-hole courses. We have some 27 holes,
Oh my God.
but generally people will play 18 when they play championship. The executives are generally speaking par threes, which means if you're playing really well, you'll get the ball in the hole in 3 shots. Some of them have par fours, which means you get the ball in the hole in 4 shots. If you're really good, if I get a par, I'm like, yay, I got a par or a birdie.
What if
You
I'm
know,
like par eight? Is there such a thing?
there is such a thing. If you get an eight, you can get an eight, but we'll talk about scoring and pace
Okay.
of play later.
Oh yeah.
Um, so, a championship, they're basically par threes, fours, and fives on a championship course, and they take approximately, if you're playing 18 holes, it's roughly 4.5 hours to play.
Okay.
So it's an all day thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I heard like I didn't know what this was either, but what's a pitch and putt? Like I didn't.
So pitch and putt is part of our executive system as well. Pitch and putt is also a 9 or 18 holes, but they're even shorter than an executive. So the distances might be just 60 or 70 or 80 yards. And they're also generally speaking par threes, but it's a really great way to get out on the golf course if you're a beginner, to get out on pitch and putt because it's shorter.
And with a pitch and putt, you're walking, right? You don't use a golf cart.
No golf carts are allowed on the pitch and putts. You're either taking your golf clubs in your pull cart, or you can have what's called a Sunday bag, which is just a little bag. And for me, like if I was going on a pitch and putt, I might just take my putter, a pitching wedge, and maybe one iron and maybe one wood. So I might just have 3 clubs. Whereas if I was playing on an executive or certainly a championship, I'd have all of my clubs, which might be like 12 or 13 clubs.
And you can rent those pull carts, right? At
Mm-hmm.
the thing. And can you rent clubs? Like, what if I don't have any clubs yet?
Yeah, so you can rent clubs at the championship
Oh,
courses.
okay,
You can rent clubs at the champs.
okay. And then how many different courses do we have? What types of courses in the villages?
We
I know
have,
we have a lot.
yeah, and the number's always changing. And I believe we have 13 championships right now, with the southernmost being Southern Oaks. And I believe that there's more in the works down south as well. There are 41 executives, and at this moment in time, and that includes the executives, the pitch and putts, and also the putting courses. So we have a couple of courses that are just for putting,
Hmm.
but they're a little challenging. They're not
All right.
easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so what does it mean? Like, so when you're playing, what is a scramble? Like I heard the
Mhm.
first time I played with a friend, well, three friends, uh, and they were like, we're gonna play scramble, and I'm like, what the heck?
Yep.
What the heck is
It has nothing to do with eggs.
that?
Scramble is a format that they will use in tournaments sometimes, but it's also a nice technique if you're a beginner. Because let's say all 4 of you saying we're playing a scramble means all 4 of you hit, but then where the best ball is, then you'll all hit from there. So if the beginners have gone askew or haven't gone very far, no matter, you're going to go up to that best ball, and then you're all going to hit from there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so how do you? I know people talk about trying to make a tea time. How do you make a tea time in the villages? It's a little different here, right?
Yep. Yeah. So there's basically 3 ways to make a tea time. The most popular way to make a tea time is via the tea time system. And we're going to put the link below. And the link for that is thevillages.net. That costs is, I believe it's $8 to be able to
Right.
access
Yeah.
that electronic tea time system. But that is the best, most efficient way to request a tea time. The other way you can do it, there's a phone that you can call. Um, it's complicated. There's a lot of
I know people don't like the phone unless
no,
they're not using the computer.
yeah,
But also when you request a tea time, it's not saying I want to play at 2 o'clock. Don't you have to give like options and
you
then
give
you find out?
parameters. You give parameters to say you could say you want to play any of these clubs, or any of these courses, and any of these times, and then you wait to see what you get.
When
If
do
you
they tell you? Will they tell you a few days before or the day before? Or how do you
Yeah,
know
so
when
it's
you?
3 days before, and you can request. And don't quote me on this, because my husband does most of the reservations. But you can request as many as 7 days ahead, and you'll hear about 3 days before that time.
And you have to
So
have each person's village ID
yes.
number to
So if
put
you're
that in.
playing with your friends, you want all your friends' all their
ID
ID
numbers.
numbers. So you put them all in together.
And so what for? Oh,
So
go
there's the
ahead.
tea time system, there's calling, and you can also call the day of. So especially now in the summer when we don't have the high numbers of people here with the snowbirds and everything. In the summer you can often call in
The
the
starter
morning,
called the
call
course.
call the starter shack, call the course, and you say, hey, do you have any tea times for 2 today around 1 o'clock or 2, whatever time you're thinking. And in the morning it could be a little tougher, but certainly in the afternoon or late day you can call day of. But that's only now in the summer. In the winter it gets, you're basically hoping for a cancellation or something like that, because it's
Sure.
very, very full.
Oh. And then what or blah, blah, blah. What time for proper etiquette? I guess. What time should you arrive at the starter shack? Let's say I have a 2 o'clock tea time.
Yeah. So you want to present yourself to the starter at 20 minutes of. So that means, you want to get to the course, park your car at maybe even a half hour or so, because you've got to get your clubs out. You probably need to change your shoes. You might need to tie up your hair. You got to get your balls out. You got to get your tees. You got to get your glove. You got to set your watch. You got to get your watch. There's a lot of things to do. So you want to present yourself to the starter 20 minutes ahead. I would say get there. And if you want to practice, if you want to putt on the putting, practice green, or chipping or driving, if some of the courses do have that. You definitely want to get there
to
early.
warm up a little bit. And then what about the fees? Because I know for executive and championship are different, but for executive, isn't that in our amenity fee? And is there anything in addition to that we have to pay?
Yep. So the executive golf is part of our amenity fee. So it's basically, that's our free golf. That's good if you're walking, if you're pulling a pull cart, it's for free. If you want to take a golf cart on the executives, then you have to pay. And there's 2 ways to pay. You can have a trail pass, which is what most golfers do have. It's a trail pass. It allows them to take their golf cart for free on the executive courses, and you can pay that yearly or semi-annually. I think now you might even be able to just pay it monthly. So if you play, I think the numbers are, if you play more than once or twice a week, you should definitely get
instead of paying just for the time that you're
right. If you
for
otherwise
one at a time.
It's free to play, but if you want to take your golf cart, it's $4, which still is a pretty good deal.
And if you don't have a golf cart or a friend that has a golf cart, can you rent the golf carts, and do you pay for that?
Some of the courses, so for executives, all of the execs you could rent a golf cart. Some of in the south section of the villages, many of them have golf carts to rent right there at the course. That's for a few of the ones in the south. For most of the courses, you can still rent a golf cart. It's not on premises. It's at the home court, the home championship of that executive. For example, I work at Havana. We're in charge. The Havana is a championship golf club, right? So we also are in charge of 4 execs: Truman, Roosevelt, Sandhill, and Turtle Mound. If you didn't have a golf cart and you wanted to use a golf cart at one of the execs, you'd have to go over to Havana, rent the cart
Oh my
there,
gosh.
and then you just take a quick, like, 5-minute golf
Oh.
cart ride.
So you should check ahead.
You should check ahead if you
About
don't
that.
have a golf cart.
Okay.
Or go with a friend who has one.
And also, so if I make a reservation and if let's say it's you and I, can just you and I play, or do they put other people? Because I know when we played the first time, there was another couple that came, and then I played another time with some friends, and there was like there were 3 of us, and they put another guy, a man in there, so you can end up with people you don't know, right?
Yeah, the first time, remember what you said to me? So you and I were playing, and we got matched up with another 2 people,
right?
and you said,
Do it.
Are we versing them? Like, is
right.
it us against them?
Are we playing against them?
Like, no, you're only playing for yourself. You're always just playing for yourself, or if you're in a tournament, a different story. But no, they always try and fill up any tee time with 4 golfers. Okay. Especially when it's busy. The system or the starter will try and put 4 together. That being said, here in the summertime when we're not in season, it's easier to just say just let's, can we get a time just the 2 of us? Yeah. And there's a good, especially late day or in the afternoon, if there's enough wiggle room, often you can get a time just by yourself or just with you and your one friend. But by and large, certainly in the mornings, they usually put 4 together. And it's a fun social way to meet friends. And golfers are generally very mannerly. They cheer each other on. They're supportive because we all knew what it was like to,
Everybody had to start somewhere.
Yeah,
like me. And then I had because I always, whenever I ask Christine a golf question, I say this is a stupid beginner question, but so when you have your golf cart, like on your dashboard, what's the setup? Because there's all these holes on there, and I'm like, what goes where? And then there's also the bottle of sand on the side, and I'm like, what the heck is that? So what's the setup of the cart?
So in general, the golf carts have these like concave openings, and usually 3 of them. Those, people will put their balls there, and then there'll be the tiny little holes, really small, and that's where you'll put your tees. And you might need, 2 different tees. You might need the short one for when it's a shorter shot that you just use an iron for, or you might use the longer tee when you're driving.
Okay. And what about the bottle?
The sand bottle, that's for fixing your divots. So when you take a shot, especially with an iron or a wedge, oftentimes you'll pull up some grass or some dirt and you'll leave a mark. And it's a part of golfing etiquette is to repair that damage that you just did, whether it's in the fairway or on the tee box. So the sand, you just sort of fill up the damage that you did.
Okay. What's a marker? Like, do you have one on your?
I don't
wear it on their hat,
but I usually do. Yeah.
Something.
Yep. There's a marker. So the markers are used. It's kind of looks like a coin, and they're used for when you're on the green. So you say you've putt and your ball did not go in, but it's somewhere else, and it's possibly in somebody else's line. Like, in other words, I went and it's 3 feet from the hole, and then you're going to go, and I'm sort of in your way. My ball's in your way. So I'm going to say, do you want me to mark that? And you'll say, yeah, because I think I'm going to hit that way. So I will at this, I'll put the marker down exactly where the ball is, and I'll pick it up. So that way you're not going to hit my ball. Okay. Or sometimes the golfer would say, no, I'm nowhere near you. So you can leave your ball.
Right. And what about, how do you keep score? I don't know if it's real complicated.
So it's pretty simple. You get a scorecard and you put your name on it, and then your playing partner, if you and I were playing on it, and if they set us up with 2 other people that we didn't know, a little tip is sometimes you write their names down just so you remember, because you often will forget.
What was their name?
Yeah. You pretty much are going to forget their name. Yeah. So, but it's really easy. Every shot you take, you're thinking in your head, okay, that was my first shot, my second shot, my third shot, my fourth shot, my fifth shot, my 6th shot. Okay, I got 6. So it took me 6 shots from the tee box to get it in the hole. So then you give yourself a 6. on that subject, a lot of times we do, and I'm sure you're going to get to it, what is ready golf. But while we're talking about it, some ways, especially if you're a beginner, but even if you're not, if you're playing casual golf, you'll only go 3 over. So if it's a par 4 and I've hit it 7 times and I'm not in the hole yet, I'm 3 over. It's a par 4. I've hit it 7. I might just pick up if I'm not in a tournament or any kind of competition.
You say good enough.
Good enough. You say good enough. Good enough. That's one way to play, because you might just pick up.
But that's what golf ready means.
That's one of the tenets to playing ready golf. Is if you're playing a casual game, you think I'm just going to pick up. It's just one way to play. Another tenet of ready golf is just like whoever's ready will go. So even though when you'll see certain etiquette says whoever's the furthest out, say you're all on the green and one guy's way over there and you're much closer. Like technically the guy who's further away should go first, but ready golf means he's still walking all the way over to his ball. I'm right here, and you might just say, I'm going to go, okay? And that's ready golf, to just speed up pace of play, because pace of play is a very important part of golf, because keep it moving. If you're slow, you could be, people could be waiting, and then you're slowing up the whole course.
What about would you start the starting? Is it called the starting tee? There's the the balls that are green, gold, and black. Mm-hmm. What do those mean? What is that?
So on executives, there are 3 in the villages. There are 3 sets of tees. We call it the black tees are the furthest back, and then the gold tees are kind of in the middle, and then the green tees are up front. So depending on what your handicap is or what kind of player, you'll say, okay, I'm going to play. And if you've set up with somebody, you say, what tees are you playing today? And you might try and...
I'm always green.
You're always green for now. For now, you're green, and recently went from green to gold.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm gold. Yep, and so that's how that works.
Mm-hmm. What are the courses open every day?
Believe it or not, the courses are open 365 days a year. They're open every single day, except for exceptions like when it's closed for maintenance. Mm-hmm.
And well, I guess they wouldn't schedule you for it, so you would know that those courses.
They wouldn't schedule you if it was closed.
What about the sand traps? Like, is there an etiquette when you hit a ball in the sand and it's like in the middle of the sand and you go hit it out?
Yeah, the etiquette with regard to sand traps is basically your club does not hit the sand. So like if you're in the fairway and you're practicing, you might sweep the grass with your club a few times while you're practicing. But if you're practicing your sand shot, you're not allowed to touch the sand with your ball. And I mean, another thing is if you've tried 2 or 3 times and you can't get out,
And what about that rake?
Yep. So when you're walking in the sand or your ball is in the sand and then you hit it, chances are you messed up the sand. It's not smooth. So the reason why that rake is there is so that you smooth it out, because if another golfer's ball goes in that mark that you made with your club or with your shoe, it's harmful to that player's play. So you rake it, and then the etiquette is in the villages we leave the rake in the sand trap after we clean it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I usually just take it out and put it on the edge, the ball, and hit from there. I don't
that's
even
fine
try.
For a beginner. That's fine, and some of the practice courses have sand traps that you can practice from.
Oh, okay. Can I drive my cart on the grass, or do I have to stay on that little roadway?
Yeah, no. On par 3s, you cannot go on the grass. You stay on the cart path. Oh. And you walk over to your ball with you. Another tenet of ready golf could be take a couple of clubs with you. Say, I think I need my wedge, but I don't know if I need my wedge or my 9. And so take them both, go over to your ball and hit it from there. But yeah, the carts stay on the cart path on a par 3.
Mm-hmm. What does airification mean? What's that?
Yeah, so it's a good tip to check the airification schedule. Airification is when maintenance they airify, I don't know how else to say it, the greens and sometimes the course as well. So it's particularly troublesome when the greens are being airified, because there's little punch holes in the green and there's also a lot of sand. So you're not getting a very good true putt. The ball's going to go slower. It's no fun putting on a green that has recently been airified. So you can find that schedule online as well. We'll put the links below. It's on golfforvillages.com. They have an airification schedule, so you could check that before you request your tee time. And I've had people call me in the starter shack and ask me when were the greens last punched, because they don't want to play if it was just like the other day.
All right, I wouldn't even know to ask. I guess that's for those experienced people.
Yeah.
You'll see. I noticed in the few times, even on one of the pitch and putts, but halfway through there's like a bathroom and there's also the water station, I guess, to refill your bottle or whatever. Is that in all the courses?
Yeah, and all the execs have a bathroom that's roughly halfway through, and they usually have on the 9 holes. There's usually at least 2 water stations, and the water is always icy cold.
Because I'm not so good, and sometimes when I hit, it doesn't go where it should, and it goes way off somewhere, and I can't find it. Like, should I look for that lost ball? And I'm like afraid of alligators and things like that. Like, maybe it's not necessarily. Maybe it's in the trees, but I'm afraid of all buggy. Whatever. Like, should people look for?
Yeah, and up north it was poison ivy too. Ew. In the woods. But here, I mean. Forgive me, I don't know the minutes that you can look for a ball. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 or 4, but there is a limit, and I usually try and do like a minute, and then if I can't find it, you drop. And here, a lot of times the ball, because we do have some narrower fairways where there's homes, and there's the white stakes, and if it was a white stake near a home, you're not supposed to go past that white stake. Then you're on their property. So if you're looking, your ball went askew, like you said, in the water, or maybe towards somebody's house, you can spend a little bit of time looking. And if you don't find it, you say, I can't find it, I'm just going to drop. And
I can tell you for sure I'm not going anywhere near water.
No, and I wouldn't go very close to water. If there's water, there's probably an alligator. And by and large, you just don't know. You just don't know. They were here first.
That's right. What about lessons? Like, does the Villages have lessons? Because I've taken a few lessons from Billy Speckman at Oxford, and then also there's a country club outside of here that they also do some lessons and have a driving range. So I've done a few outside of the Villages. But did the Villages offer?
Yeah, we have lessons right here. You can go to, for sure, you can go to Palmer. There's a golf academy at Palmer, and there's also a practice range and lessons over at Sarasota as well.
Okay. What about, what if, here's the other thing, being a beginner, you're afraid that you really are not very good at all, and you're really slow, and oh my God, there's people waiting behind me, and blah, 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 blah. Like, what do you do to kind of conquer that feeling of like, oh my God, everybody's waiting on me, I'm so slow.
Yeah. Practice first at the pitch and putts. It's like an exec, but even smaller. So everyone who's playing on a pitch and putt are there purely for fun. I mean, generally golf in the Villages is purely for fun, but you never want to feel like you're slowing somebody else down. So tip number 1 would be try the pitch and putts first, and then get a little bit of the hang of it. Number 2, I would say do the number 1 courses. So the executives are rated 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being the easiest and 4 being the hardest. If you're a beginner golfer, you might not want to go to a 4, because you might find yourself in that position where if there's more trouble, trouble meaning there's water, there's a lot of sand, it's very long, there's a lot of rough. Why make it hard on yourself? Go to a level 1 course first. It's easier. So chances are everyone there is also a beginner too. So there's less of that chance that you're going to have that situation happening.
And what are a few of the ones that are level?
Turtle Mound is a level 1. Sarasota is a level 1. I think
Sarasota was the first I played with you.
Yeah,
that was the first one I played. Yes.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Do we have any other tips? Do you have any other?
The other tip I would say is besides taking, if you can take some professional lessons, because a pro can show you exactly how to, how you might want to how you might want to grip it, how you might want to swing it. And they can often spot, things that just need a little tweaking here and there. Certainly, you learned a lot from going to
Yeah,
Billy
he would
Speckman.
videotape me and then show me the video and go, look, you're doing.
So what,
So you have no idea what you're doing,
Yeah, and the other tip that I would have is you can go to Good Golf School here in the Villages. It's for free, and we'll put the link in below, how to set yourself up to go to Good Golf School as well. That teaches you a lot too.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we'll have like a whole bunch of links down here, with like the numbering of the courses and all of that
Yeah.
other information. But I think that's it for beginners. But if you want to, in the comments, if you have any other questions, we can try, or Christine actually
Yeah.
can try and answer,
Try and answer them.
because I asked all the stupid ones already. So.
Everybody has them.
But anyway, so that's our
Oh, what to bring to the course besides
oh
your balls and your clubs and your tees, and a visor
oh
is
that's right.
highly recommended because it does get hot out there. Most of the courses.
Oh, what about dress code? I forgot
Yeah,
about
dress code. So, visor is good to have to keep the sun out of your eyes. You can see much better. I mean, I've tried playing without one, and it was no, it was a no. Sunglasses, water, and sunscreen, because you are outside for quite a while. So you definitely need all those goodies. And dress code is super, super important. Um, it's part of golf etiquette to be properly dressed for golf. You don't want to go to play golf in gym clothes. There on every starter shack, there is a guide for how to dress. And for women, it's basically, and men, it's basically a collared shirt. It is basically shorts that are, shorts or a skirt or whatever that is, so many inches from your knee, and these sorts of things. No gym clothes, no, nothing like that. But
okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I learned a lot today.
Did you?
I did.
Good.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you everybody. Thanks for watching our channel. We
Mhm.
hope you help us grow our channel.
Yeah, please do. The video if you liked it, and if you subscribe, that really helps us out a lot. So we appreciate it. We hope we're bringing you good content that you enjoy.
All right. Thank you. See you out on the Lanai.
See you on the Lanai.
Okay. Bye.